Boy, we're coming to the final stretch. So far a very, very successful forum. Congratulations and thank you everybody, really. It's been truly, truly fantastic. I've only heard excellent comments from everybody. So we have a packed afternoon. We will have first the reading of the final communique. So hopefully you enjoy it, hopefully you approve it. And then we will have our grand event, the grand finale session, where the Central Asian government will tell us their responses to the B5+1 policy recommendations. And then we will end with a keynote presentation by the chairman of the board of the Center for International Private Enterprise, Mr. Greg Lebedev, and end it with the comments from the ministry here in Kyrgyzstan and the US ambassador. So why do we start? If anybody's outside, please join us immediately, because we will start with the final communique. For that, you're gonna hear from my colleague, my friend, Lisa Lenz-Jedwab, who's the Deputy Director for Europe and Eurasia at CIPE, at the Center for International Private Enterprise. She is absolutely brilliant, she's relentless, and she's so full of energy. She has worked behind the scenes to make all of this successful. Lisa, all yours.
Thank you so much, Abdu, and thank you all for being here. What an incredible forum. It's been so energizing to hear all of the dialogues taking place in the breakout sessions, the panel sessions. Thank you so much to all of our private sector partners for coming and contributing, and of course, thank you to our government partners and colleagues as well for engaging in this excellent dialogue this week. I have the honor of delivering the communique today to you. So without any further ado, I will go ahead and read the communique. B5+1 Forum 2026, Advancing Economic Cooperation between Central Asia and the United States of America. On February 4th to 5th, 2026, the second B5+1 Forum was held in Bishkek, bringing together government officials, representatives of the business community, including small and medium-sized enterprises, international investors and partners, as well as experts from the Republic of Kazakhstan, the Kyrgyz Republic, the Republic of Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, the Republic of Uzbekistan, and the United States of America. B5+1 is a public-private dialogue platform established under the Improving the Business Environment in Central Asia, IBECA, program, facilitated by the Center for International Private Enterprise, CIPE, and with funding from the US Department of State. The 2026 B5+1 Forum took place in the context of the 10th anniversary of the C5+1 Platform and Presidential Summit held in Washington, D.C. on November 6, 2025, and welcomed the adoption of the Joint Statement of Intent on Economic Cooperation. The joint statement recognized B5+1 as an important business counterpart to the C5+1 platform and emphasized the importance of strengthening regional connectivity, improving the investment and business environment, and reinforcing the B5+1 platform as a key mechanism for private sector engagement. The 2026 Forum reviewed the progress and achievements since the first B5+1 Forum and discussed new priorities set out in 5 regional business agendas and a business position paper developed through broad consultations among private sector representatives, including business associations, small and medium-sized enterprises, and experts from Central Asia and the United States. The business community of the C5+1 countries expressed its highest appreciation to the Cabinet of Ministers of the Kyrgyz Republic as the host country of the B5+1 Forum 2026, and to all partners for their support and participation in the forum. Forum participants affirmed their commitment to sustained public-private cooperation aimed at advancing practical and measurable reforms that strengthen regional economic integration, expand market opportunities, and deepen economic and investment ties between Central Asia and the United States through future B5+1 Forum convenings and the B5+1 business-oriented process. The B5+1 regional business agendas for 2026 reflect two strategic objectives: deepening regional economic integration and strengthening market connectivity among Central Asian countries, and strengthening cooperation with U.S. companies and expanding partnerships between private sector representatives of Central Asia and the United States. The 2026 Regional Business Agendas and Business Position Paper contain key policy recommendations for C5+1 countries across 6 priority sectors: agriculture, financial and banking sector, critical minerals, e-commerce and information technology, tourism, and transport and logistics. I will now read the recommendations summarized in the communique. Agriculture. Number 1, digitalization of agricultural supply chains through the introduction of e-certification, integrated single window systems, and digital information platforms for producers, processors, and exporters. Number 2, harmonization of agricultural standards and certification systems in Central Asia to align them with international norms and ensure mutual recognition of certificates. Number 3, support for export growth through investment in quality infrastructure, including certification services, networks of accredited laboratories, and advisory centers for farmers and exporters. Financial and banking sector. Number 4, accelerating digital integration of the financial sector across Central Asia. Number 5, promoting international integration of the financial and banking sector. Number 6, developing capital markets and attracting international investment into the financial and banking sector. Critical minerals. Number 7, consolidation of dialogue on the development of sustainable value chains, including infrastructure, logistics, and processing, taking into account national priorities and interests of the countries in the region. Number 8, discussion of approaches to establishing transparent and predictable business environment in the field of subsoil use and processing of critical minerals, aimed at enhancing investment attractiveness and reducing regulatory risks. Number 9, consideration of opportunities for cooperation in the implementation of specific economically viable projects in exploration, extraction, and processing of critical minerals, with a focus on practical outcomes and scalable cooperation models within the framework of national legislation. Number 10, encouragement of the exchange of experience in regulation, business practices, and workforce development to create favorable conditions for long-term and mutually beneficial cooperation in the mineral resources sector. E-commerce and information technology. E-commerce. Number 11, harmonization of rules and development of regional e-commerce markets. Number 12, development of joint cross-border digital payments and financial technologies. Number 13, launch of digital logistics and trade corridors for e-commerce shipments across Central Asia. Number 14, supporting SME, small and medium-sized enterprise, participation in regional e-commerce. Information technology. Number 15, unification of regional digital frameworks and establishment of coordination mechanisms. Number 16, harmonization of personal data protection and intellectual property regimes in the IT sector. Number 17, development of a coordinated strategy for data center infrastructure development. And 18, improve Central Asian business environment for economic cooperation with United States companies on artificial intelligence. Tourism. Launch of joint international marketing and promotional campaigns in Central Asia and the United States. Number 20, supporting workforce development and knowledge exchange in tourism through regional service quality standards, joint vocational education programs, staff certification, and cooperation with international and U.S. tourism companies. Number 21, improving border infrastructure and transport connectivity oriented toward tourism development. Lastly, transport and logistics. Number 22, digitalization and automation of customs and transit processes. Number 23, harmonization of legal and regulatory frameworks for transport and transit across Central Asia. Number 24, increased participation in the Trans-Caspian International Transport Corridor. Number 25, investment in modernization of vehicle fleets and transport infrastructure. And number 26, investment in training and education to ensure workforce competency. That concludes the list of recommendations. I'll wrap up with the last section. Towards a sustainable B5+1 public-private dialogue platform. Looking ahead, B5+1 reaffirms its commitment to ensuring a sustainable platform for public-private dialogue and cooperation in support of C5+1 economic cooperation. To translate shared priorities into concrete steps, investments, and partnerships, continued engagement among governments, the private sector, and international partners is essential. Building on the outcomes and commitments of the 2026 Forum, B5+1 will continue to advance regionally coordinated, private sector-driven solutions that strengthen competitiveness, foster regional economic growth, and enhance long-term economic ties between Central Asia and the United States of America. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lisa. And congratulations on the communique for everybody. Thank you. Next, I think we have the main course. It's the grand finale session. It's the Central Asian government responses to the B5+1 policy recommendations. And for that, we have a fantastic, fantastic moderator, my friend, my personal friend, my eyes to Kyrgyzstan and Bishkek, and really the sense of pride that my friend has in Bishkek and in Kyrgyzstan is so contagious. I'm in love. So Mukhtar Jamaliev is an advisor. He's our senior advisor to the B5+1 initiative and is the former ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary of the Kyrgyz Republic to the United States and Canada, amongst many, many other positions he served for the Kyrgyz government. Mukhtar, all yours to guide us and to take us through the next panel.
Thank you very much. Саламатсыздарбы, урматтуу бүгүнкү жыйындын катышуучулары. I just wanted that you also listen the Kyrgyz sounds welcoming you all to this ending, the end of our very important session. I think this is actually one of the important part of all the work which has been done already by the working parties, and it's really great honor for me to moderate this session. I see a lot of colleagues to whom I worked in Washington, D.C. And it's really great pleasure to create this is the Washington, D.C. environment here during these 2 days and welcoming you here in Bishkek for the work of the Business Forum. This Business Forum, it's a second one, as you already mentioned. The first beginning of the session has been started in Almaty. And I think this was also successful as a second turn, and I hope this will continue. Today, we have the outcomes which Lisa has already announced in the communique, but important part is just to listen the reaction of the governments. So the governments should also speak on their behalf, and here we have the delegations, the high-level delegations, which I would like also to thank for your participation until the end of the session. And I would like to invite here the host of the Kyrgyz delegation, the Deputy Minister, Ms. Nurlanova, first to come to the stage and take your seat here, please. And also, I would like to invite John Mark Pomershay, His Excellency, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, South and Central Asia Bureau, U.S. Department of State. Please, Ambassador, take your seat. And I also warmly welcome Mr. Ambassador, the Deputy Minister Erjan Ashikbayev, the First Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, please, of the Republic of Kazakhstan. I would like to invite Akram Aliyev, the Deputy Minister of Investment and Industry and Trade of Republic of Uzbekistan. Akram. And the representative of Turkmenistan, Mr. Begench Arazov, the board member Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs of Turkmenistan. Please. Now I would like to give the floor first to the Kyrgyz delegation to address her speech, her reaction, the reaction of the government on the outcomes of the B5+1 working groups and also the reaction for the recommendations. Госпожа Нурланова, я прошу вас выступить как страна, принимающая страна, первую сессию. Слово вам.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги, уважаемые гости. Спасибо за возможность выступить. Прежде всего, выражаю признательность бизнес-сообществу стран Центральной Азии и Соединенных Штатов, САИП и всем партнерам форума B5+1 за содержательную работу. Ценность рекомендаций форума заключается в том, что они основаны на практическом опыте бизнеса и отражают реальные запросы предпринимателей. Для Кыргызской республики платформа B5+1 уже стала действенным механизмом государственно-частного диалога, позволяющим переводить региональные приоритеты в конкретные решения и проекты, дополняющие сотрудничество в формате C5+1. Сегодня Центральная Азия укрепляет позиции как пространство экономического сотрудничества, инвестиций и создания добавленной стоимости. По ключевым направлениям деловой повестки уже реализуются практические шаги, сближаются стандарты, упрощается доступ продукции на внешние рынки, развиваются цифровые и финансовые инструменты для трансграничной торговли и инвестиций, формируется общее цифровое пространство для электронной коммерции и IT-сервисов, усиливается совместное продвижение региона как единого туристического направления, совершенствуются транспортные и транзитные процедуры, повышая эффективность перевозок и торговых маршрутов. За последние 4 года среднегодовой темп экономического роста Кыргызской республики составил порядка 9–10%. Согласно данным Международного валютного фонда, в 2025 году Кыргызстан вошел в тройку стран мира по темпам реального роста ВВП. За этот период государственный бюджет увеличился почти в 3 раза, а объем валового внутреннего продукта страны вырос более чем в 2,5 раза. Эти результаты подтверждают, что последовательная политика по снятию внутренних барьеров, улучшению условий ведения бизнеса и поддержки экономической активности приносит конкретные результаты. Мы исходим из того, что по мере изменения глобальной экономической ситуации неизбежно возникают новые вызовы и ограничения. Поэтому ключевое значение имеет способность государств и бизнеса действовать согласованно, своевременно устранять возникающие барьеры и совместно находить новые возможности для развития. Рекомендации B5+1 мы рассматриваем как практический ориентир для дальнейших совместных действий и последовательного внедрения решений, повышающих предсказуемость и привлекательность региона для бизнеса и инвестиций. Наши приоритеты остаются неизменными: устойчивый диалог с бизнесом, согласованные региональные действия и практическая реализация принятых решений. Мы рассматриваем B5+1 как долгосрочное партнерство и готовы совместно превращать договоренность форума в конкретные проекты и инвестиции. Благодарю за плодотворное сотрудничество.
Большое спасибо, Беназир Нурлановна, за ваше выступление и за открытость, и за выражение политической воли, готовности сотрудничать как на региональном, так и на национальном уровне, поддерживать бизнес и бизнес-среду. И далее я хочу, and then now I would like to invite the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, His Excellency John Mark Pomershay, for your speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Jumaliev, for moderating today, and also would want to express thank you very much to our host, the Kyrgyz government, for the hospitality this week in the beautiful city of Bishkek, surrounded by mountains and sunshine as we go through the week. Also, thank you to my fellow panelists for their work here during these last couple days. Following the historic C5+1 White House summit on November 6th, President Trump and the 5 Central Asian leaders outlined a vision for taking United States relations with Central Asia to the next level. And part of that vision includes most definitely the B5+1 and strengthening private-public partnerships and our economic engagement across the board. And we very much appreciate the recommendations as outlined in the communique. We believe that United States government support of the B5+1, we had Special Envoy Sergio Gore, Special Envoy for South and Central Asia, here this week. He's still in Kyrgyzstan. That illustrates the value that we place on learning and listening from the private sector in pursuit of our leaders' economic goals. As I was reflecting on this and discussing this with my colleagues, we think it's important to consider in the recommendations in the context of our leaders' vision, as I said, for taking relations to the next level. I would point back to the November 6th Statement of Economic Intent, where our governments described 3 priority areas on which we believe we should stay focused. First, and as was mentioned in the communique, improving the commercial environment. Efforts should support confidence-building measures so that more American companies know when they do business in Central Asia, there will be fair and transparent processes in place for resolving disputes. We also need to work and make it easier for our youth and the human capital of the region to realize its full potential and do great work. And our view is that includes fostering innovation through startups and small and medium-sized enterprise. Second priority area is trade, investment, and critical minerals, as was also mentioned in the communique. And we've seen new examples of investments in trade in the fields of energy and critical minerals, and we should proactively build upon these successes. 2 of the governments represented here at the B5 were in Washington earlier this week, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, taking part in the critical minerals ministerial. You may have heard the remarks yesterday by the US Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary Rubio. Our view is that the critical minerals situation is a very difficult one. And the reason for calling that summit was that, as the Vice President outlined yesterday, the critical minerals market worldwide is failing. We need to work together to build secure supply chains for critical minerals. We need diverse centers of production and free and fair competition. And so we very much appreciate Central Asia's role in that process and view our Central Asian partners represented on this stage today as extremely valuable partners in that effort. We see enthusiasm from our Central Asian partners as well in the area of artificial intelligence. And we want to take steps together to increase the region's readiness for American AI technology and standards, which promises to support the growth of an enduring digital economy throughout the region. And thirdly, in terms of priorities, the Trans-Caspian trade route and increasing connectivity. We should prioritize recommendations that will help us fully develop the potential of the Trans-Caspian trade route and seize this historic opportunity to connect it to the Trump route for international peace and prosperity, or TRIP. As I was reflecting back on Almaty, which was mentioned earlier, we had a number of recommendations that came out of Almaty, and I understand many of those have been fully adopted. I understand that Tajikistan has modernized legal frameworks for e-commerce, Uzbekistan has accelerated digital sector reforms, and here in the Kyrgyz Republic, the tax burden in certain agricultural areas has decreased. These were all recommendations that were put forward in 2024 in Almaty. And that's led to other successes, such as the Association of Berry Growers of the Kyrgyz Republic, identifying new partnerships here with American producers of berry seedlings and producing new varieties of fruit here in the Kyrgyz Republic. That's just one concrete example of the kind of work we're trying to do together with our partners in Central Asia. So as we conclude the forum today, or we move to conclusion, we're not concluding yet, I really appreciate everyone, the work that everyone has done to continue to make important connections across ministries, mapping out practical next steps, and working to implement the beneficial recommendations discussed over the past 2 days. As I mentioned at the outset, the United States, supported by our President and Secretary of State, will continue to support these efforts, building upon the strong foundation of 30 years of bilateral partnerships in Central Asia and 10 years plus now of C5+1 cooperation. We want to leverage mechanisms such as the C5+1 Critical Minerals Dialogue and tools such as the B5+1 Regional Business Agenda to advance our collective efforts and stay connected. We're stronger and more prosperous when we work together. So thank you again to everyone, and look forward to continuing to advance economic cooperation between the United States and our Central Asian partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency Panushyan. Thank you for your comments and reaction, and thank you also for the support of the United States of America, especially State Department, for this platform, for the regional framework, and for the all work has been done, and for the big delegation you bring together with you to the Kyrgyz Republic. Thank you very much. And now, а сейчас я хочу предоставить слово его превосходительству Ержану Ашикбаеву, первому заместителю министра иностранных дел Республики Казахстан. Вам слово, Ваше превосходительство. Мы также хотели бы услышать от вас реакцию после Алматы, Алматинской конференции, а также теперь это проходит в Кыргызстане. Спасибо большое за казахскую инициативу, которая прошла первой ласточкой в Казахстане, и теперь мы его продолжаем. Какие инициативы, мы также хотели бы услышать, какие инициативы уже были реализованы, и итоги этой конференции, какие приемлемы для государственного сектора и дальнейшие шаги. Вам слово. Спасибо.
Спасибо, господин посол. Урматтуу айымдар мен мырзалар, урматтуу форумдун катышуучулары, биринчиден Кыргыз Республикасынын өкмөтүнө абдан ыраазычылык билдиремин. Special thanks go to the Center for International Private Enterprise for their efforts in organizing of this event, and Abdu, you and your team did a wonderful, wonderful job. Congratulations, not only throughout these 2 days, but for months since the first B5+1 event in Almaty. These past 2 days have been highly productive, and it's not only my opinion. I've been interacting with Kazakh delegates a lot, and they've been very, very impressed with the quality of discussions and the outcomes of this event. And this event itself helped to further advance public-private dialogue and strengthen business partnerships. The recommendations, 25, 26 of them that we heard, indicate that cooperation between Central Asia, within Central Asia and between Central Asia and the United States is moving to a more mature and practical level. This is not merely a collection of initiatives, but an effort to build a coherent and interconnected regional economic model oriented towards the real needs of business and investors. And these recommendations are grounded in an already established level of regional integration. Today, Central Asia demonstrates a stable intra-regional cooperation as evidenced by the regular work of the consultative meeting of heads of states of Central Asia. And I truly believe that so many of those recommendations will make their way to the next meeting, to the next gathering of Central Asian presidents. And the degree of political coordination has already created the necessary foundation for moving from declarations to a practical economic mechanisms. And a similar evolution can be observed within with the dialogue with the United States. The C5+1 format, which we most recently witnessed on November 6 in Washington, when our leaders convened for a historic summit, set the C5+1 platform, the summit meeting, set the strategic framework, while the B5+1 emerges as its logical continuation, operating at the level of businesses, projects, and sectoral solutions. And the current agenda is not a starting point, but the next stage of our deepening cooperation. From Kazakhstan's perspective, the regional nature of the proposed solutions is of fundamental importance. The emphasis on harmonizing rules, standards, and procedures across Central Asia strengthens the region's overall competitiveness and makes it more transparent and attractive for US companies. For Kazakhstan, this approach fully aligns with our priorities, developing an integrated market, reducing costs, and supporting entrepreneurship. In the field of critical minerals, the recommendations reflect growing attention to Central Asia as a rising star of the global energy and industrial transformation, while also building on concrete progress already achieved. As mentioned by Ambassador Pomersheim, two of our countries, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, both foreign ministers of our two countries spoke at critical minerals ministerial event, which concluded its work just yesterday in Washington. And this is already a big opening of not only of our two countries, but of entire Central Asia. Kazakhstan already translated this agenda into practical outcomes. We are proud to be one of the first countries, not only in the region, but also globally, to have signed MOU on critical minerals, and that happened on the margins of the C5+1 Leaders Summit in Washington. Digitalization and e-commerce are viewed as key drivers of competitiveness and regional integration, and recent investments in supercomputer based on NVIDIA technology in Kazakhstan with the US support, this has strengthened our ambition to become a regional IT hub. And this is further strengthened by designation of 2026 as the year of artificial intelligence by President Tokayev, which further anchors digital transformation as a national priority. In fact, Kazakhstan plans to fully digitalize its economy within the next 3 years. And e-commerce is seen as a natural extension of digital growth, enabling broader market access for businesses and supporting cross-border trade. Logistics and transport are rightly viewed as the backbone of the entire agenda, and Kazakhstan, as you've seen yesterday, the Minister of Industry and Construction of Kazakhstan, Mr. Nagaspayev, spoke eloquently about that, the investment of substantial resources in the development of our transit potential and digitalization of transport corridors. And of course, Trans-Caspian route is having not only regional but broader geo-economic significance as a reliable link between markets. Equally important is the focus on the financial and banking sector and issues of trust. And this is, I specifically distinguish this sphere and the trust component. It's of major importance for the region to have a trust and confidence of international markets. Tourism recommendations presented within this B5+1 framework are particularly timely as they approach tourism not as a standalone sector but as a catalyst for a broader economic integration and service sector growth. But I should mention that the next big commitment should be from you, from businesses. The governments have done a lot in terms of opening Central Asia, and 4 out of 5 Central Asian countries have visa-free regimes, and it's now up to tourism companies to basically set up those wonderful destinations for tourists. All these steps demonstrate a shared shift from dialogue towards project-based cooperation and development of resilient supply chains. This approach is evident in digital and agricultural agendas as well, where standards and technology are viewed as key drivers of value-added growth. Overall, all these recommendations set the right direction. The next step is the consistent implementation of the proposed measures with active political and institutional support, and we see an opportunity not only to strengthen economic partnership with the US, but also to anchor Central Asia's integrated role within global economy. And we look forward, of course, to the next B5+1 meeting. You will designate the next travel destinations for all of us, but we will definitely continue steepening our partnership and further advance this G2B dialogue at national levels. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your comments and reactions on behalf of the government of Kazakhstan, and I feel full support you show for the platforms which works, for the working groups these days, and even creating for each specific working group you commented. And thank you very much from Kazakhstan side for the support of this platform. And now I would like to give the floor for His Excellency Mr. Akram Aliyev, the Deputy Minister of Investment, Industry and Trade, Republic of Uzbekistan.
Thank you, Ambassador. After the excellent speech and perfect English of my colleague, my esteemed colleague from Kazakhstan, I decided to make my speech in Russian because it's every time very hard to compete in English with people who are involved in foreign affairs. Уважаемые коллеги, Ваше Превосходительство, представители деловых кругов, дамы и господа, прежде всего, позвольте выразить искреннюю признательность и благодарность правительству Кыргызстана, партнерам из США, а также всем представителям правительств и бизнес-сообществ Центральной Азии за содержательный, конструктивный и ориентированный на результат диалог, который мы провели за эти 2 дня в прекрасном Бишкеке. Проведенный форум наглядно подтвердил, что платформа B5+1 уверенно развивается в действенный практический механизм, соединяющую выработку государственной политики с реальными потребностями бизнеса во всем регионе Центральной Азии. Обсуждения прошли в открытой профессиональной атмосфере и были нацелены на поиск взаимовыгодных решений во благо наших стран. За прошедшие 2 дня состоялись интенсивные и продуктивные сессии по ключевым направлениям для нас. Это сельское хозяйство, финансовым услугам, критически важным минеральным ресурсам, цифровой экономике, транспорту и логистике, а также туризму. Рекомендации, подготовленные региональными рабочими группами, формируют не только отраслевые ориентиры, но и целую стратегию по углублению экономической интеграции и улучшению делового климата Центральной Азии. Сегодня становится очевидным, что экономическое будущее нашего региона зависит от способности действовать не только как отдельные национальные рынки, но и как единое взаимосвязанное экономическое пространство. Координация реформ, гармонизация регулирования и развитие транспортного сотрудничества позволит существенно повысить инвестиционную и торговую привлекательность Центральной Азии на глобальном уровне. Правительства стран региона едины в понимании того, что устойчивый экономический рост невозможен без тесного партнерства с частным сектором. Платформа B5+1 стала важной площадкой, где бизнес получает возможность напрямую участвовать в формировании региональной экономической повестки. Это создает прочную основу для укрепления доверия, повышения прозрачности и усиления инвестиционной уверенности. Дамы и господа, представленные в рамках B5+1 рекомендации ясно показывают, что многие экономические вызовы носят взаимосвязанный характер и требуют согласованных региональных решений, сближения политик и долгосрочной приверженности всех участников процесса. Следующий этап сотрудничества в данном формате должен быть сосредоточен на укреплении механизмов реализации, расширении совместных региональных инвестиционных проектов и углублении взаимодействия с международными партнерами, включая частный сектор США. Привлечение передовых технологий, инновационных бизнес-моделей и качественных инвестиций станет важным ускорителем нашей общей экономической трансформации. Сегодня Центральная Азия все более воспринимается как регион стабильности, реформ и новых возможностей. Расширяющееся региональное взаимодействие уже приносит ощутимые экономические результаты и способствует росту нашей глобальной конкурентоспособности. В завершении хотел бы подчеркнуть, что подлинный успех платформы B5+1 будет измеряться нашей способностью переводить диалог в конкретные проекты, практические реформы и региональные экономические выгоды для наших граждан. Узбекистан подтверждает свою полную приверженность поддержке региональной интеграции и совместной работе с нашими соседями и международными партнерами во имя формирования более связанного, динамичного и процветающего региона. Благодарю за внимание и рассчитываю на продолжение нашего диалога. In the end, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for all organizers and everyone who was involved in organizing this excellent event, and I look forward to continue our dialogue in near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency Aliyev, for your expression of the position of the Republic of Uzbekistan and full support to the platform for the continuation of this platform, and we are really looking forward that this platform will see in the next cities of all the Central Asian countries. And now I would like to move to the speaker from Turkmenistan, Mr. Begenç Arazov, the board member of the Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs of Turkmenistan. You have the floor, Mr. Begenç.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, коллеги, прежде всего от имени главы нашей делегации, министра финансов и экономики Туркменистана Маметкулы Розаулиевича, выражаю искреннюю благодарность за организатором данного бизнес-форума.
Можете, пожалуйста, микрофон поближе сделать, чтобы слышно было для...
Мы высоко ценим проделанную работу и радушный прием, оказанный нашей делегации. Опираясь на конструктивный диалог наших лидеров, этот форум открывает новые возможности в экономическом взаимодействии стран Центральной Азии и США. Указанные 6 приоритетных направлений сохраняют свою актуальность. Наша страна готова приложить необходимые условия для их успешного продвижения. Особо хочу подчеркнуть потенциал укрепления сотрудничества в сфере IT-технологий, цифровой трансформации, а также банковской, финансовой, транспортно-логистической секторах. При этом, чтобы диалог был конструктивным, нужно, чтобы все стороны были вовлечены. Мы заметили, что при обсуждении этих приоритетов соответствующих рабочих групп форума туркменская сторона почти не была вовлечена. Чтобы добиться реальных результатов, нужно наладить по-настоящему налаженную работу с участием представителей всех стран-участников. Что касается проекта итогового коммюнике, то мы только недавно ознакомились с его текстом и не имели возможности привести его в всесторонний анализ. Хочу подчеркнуть, на текущем этапе мы не можем выразить одобрение данного документа с нашей стороны, так как у каждой стороны существует обязательная внутренняя процедура для эффективной реализации такой или иной задачи. В связи с этим предлагаем направить его в финальную версию по дипломатическим каналам туркменской стороны. Мы проинформируем о результатах рассмотрения в кратчайшие сроки, дадим знать. В завершение позвольте еще раз подтвердить нашу готовность к глубокому актуальному сотрудничеству по всем ключевым направлениям. Уверен, что наладив четкие механизмы взаимодействия и соблюдая принципы взаимного учета интересов, мы сможем добиться значительных результатов на благо наших экономик. Благодарю за внимание. Спасибо.
Большое спасибо, господин Аразов, за ваше выступление, за ваши комментарии от имени правительства Туркменистана. Для нас это очень важно, поэтому в целом, in general, I would like to thank to all the speakers for today's session as a reaction of the government for the work within not only the 2 days work, that was almost 1 year work with all our team, SIPE and working groups. I think the great work has been done because this is the really excellent approach and excellent model how the Central Asia can work together, business and the government. And all the recommendations which has been found the consensus among the businesses. All the Central Asian countries in these working groups, they discuss within 1 year and finding the consensus way to adopt the outcome of the work. And I would like to thank also the governments for their support of all this work done and willingness to continue to implement and to integrate into the government policy. The government policy turns to the development of the business and business environment, not only in Central Asia, but for the business environment and with United States of America. Once again, I thank the United States for the strong support of SIPE, for the strong support of this platform. I think this is the really good model where we can show that the business can work together with the governments. And the outcome of the work became like a roadmap for all of us where we can work together in consensus and to promote our countries for prosperity. With that, I'm coming to an end and would like to pass the floor again to our moderator, Mr. Abdul Wahab. Thank you very much for moderating. And we can have the final maybe picture with all the speakers, the high panel. Please.
Your Excellencies, thank you very, very, very much. You cannot imagine how much that warms my heart, how much that warms the hearts of all the SIPE staff that have been working so hard on this. SIPE has been in business since 1983. What's that, like 42 years now? Our role is to bring the private sector to the table in dialogue with their governments and regional platforms like this to improve the business environment in a country. And to see this is the culmination. We've been in this region since 2022 with the IBECA program, improving the business environment in Central Asia. And to see this from 2022 till now, how fast, how rapidly, how the momentum moved for us to reach this level is breathtaking. I can tell you, I myself have been at SIPE for now 18, 19 years. I have not seen such success in such little time. So congratulations, but this doesn't end it. This is the start of the challenge, and we will continue. And we promise you, we're committed to you. I and the SIPE staff here, Washington, and all the 5 Central Asian countries will work to make sure this is as successful as it can be, because of our role will be unlimited. We'll do whatever we can to make it a success. Thank you all very, very much. And another hand of applause. Thank you all very much. And now it is my distinct pleasure to invite to the podium for the keynote remarks the Chairman of the Board of the Center for International Private Enterprise, Mr. Greg Lebedev. In addition to being the Chairman of SIPE, Mr. Lebedev has been a senior advisor to several organizations, including being a member of the Board of Directors of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the biggest association of its kind, representing the interests of over 3 million American companies. He previously served as President and CEO of the American Chemistry Council, COO of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and the Chief Operating Officer of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and held senior government posts at the State Department and the White House. He was nominated by Presidents George H.W. and George W. Bush for senior federal appointments. My chairman, our chairman, Mr. Greg Lebedev.
Thank you very much, Abdu. This is the first time I've been in this part of the world, and it is indeed beautiful. And as I was taken with the scenery, it dawned on me that with a name like Gregory Lebedev, I must have had some unemployed cousin about 50 or 100 years ago wander into your neighborhood and settle down. And I'm merely here to say, if he has been a bad neighbor, I apologize. As we conclude this session of the B5+1, I want to reflect briefly on what we've accomplished, and more importantly, what it tells us about where the platform is headed. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to the host government of the Kyrgyz Republic, especially His Excellency, Vice Chairman of the Cabinet of Ministers, and His Excellency, Minister of Economy and Commerce, for hosting this important gathering. Your efforts in bringing us together are a testament to the leadership and vision of this nation to strengthen Central Asia's cooperation with the United States. I also want to acknowledge the presence of high-level officials from Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan who joined us for this year's forum. Your commitment to fostering regional collaboration and economic growth is inspiring. It's inspiring because too few countries recognize that a market economy is the only platform that will make poor nations rich and rich nations strong. I would be remiss if I didn't also recognize the senior American diplomatic team that joined us this year, led by Ambassador Sergio Gore, Special Envoy for South and Central Asia, and the recently appointed U.S. Ambassador to India. Thank you as well to Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Jean-Marc Parmersheim and U.S. Ambassador Viggory, who have generously supported the B5+1 initiative. Your presence here reflects the growing importance of this region in Washington's strategic and economic priorities, as well as your support of deepening U.S. and Central Asian business ties. And to the business leaders from the United States and the Central Asian countries represented here, thank you for your dedication to building bridges of commerce and opportunity. Finally, a big thanks to my team, the SIPE team in Bishkek and Washington, for your tremendous efforts over the many, many months that made this historic forum possible. As most of us know, Central Asia is usually portrayed in a historical fashion, as a centuries-old and vital transit corridor for much of the world. And indeed, that was true. But in my view, that description no longer fits, because the 5 key countries of Central Asia are no longer a trade route, but a dynamic destination, a place to be proud of, a place to be promoted, and a place where ideas come to life rather than simply a road to somewhere else. That's President Trump's vision, and that's what the B5+1 is all about. It has to be said that the idea behind the forum is deceptively simple. Several years ago, the Center for International Private Enterprise, together with input from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and local business associations across Central Asia, developed this forum from scratch. Just as the G7 and G20 forums have their corresponding B7 and B20 business analogs that focus on advancing sound economic policies and opportunities, the idea to create a B5+1 forum for business, to create a common economic policy framework to support the political objectives of the C5+1 governments, was both sensible and overdue. In the time that has passed since the first B5+1 meeting in Almaty in 2024, which we've referenced several times this morning, the governments of the region have had impressive policy successes that have led directly to economic development. Thanks to these reforms, small farmers in the Kyrgyz Republic have new export opportunities, including new partnerships with the United States. Online sellers in Uzbekistan have clear rules and tax incentives to keep them innovating. New e-commerce laws and rules in Kazakhstan and Tajikistan are expanding opportunities for small and medium-sized enterprises, allowing them to expand to new markets and commercial relationships. And more recently, this past November, as was recently mentioned, there was a highly successful presidential summit in Washington with the result that billions of dollars were committed to be invested within and among the 6 nations of the B5+1. However, it is my firm belief that this is just the beginning of what can be achieved when we build upon foundational partnerships between the United States and each of the 5 Central Asian nations. As one who has for years traveled widely for the purpose of identifying and assisting with the development of market opportunities, I can assure you that Central Asia, the B5 family, is today one of the most competitively advantaged parts of the world, with young and educated workforce, abundant natural resources, constructive business-to-government dialogues on pro-growth reform, natural beauty, a vibrant culture, and thousands of years of history. You will attract not just tourists, but businessmen and women from around the world who recognize that the future of Central Asia is as bright as the North Star. I encourage all of you to remain engaged with SIPE's IBECA initiative, participate with the U.S. Chamber in its recent expansion throughout Central Asia, contribute your expertise, and continue to use the B5+1 as a channel for shaping practical pro-growth solutions which will lead directly to economic expansion. Let me close with what I am told is a local Kyrgyz saying: go out light, come back heavy, meaning that as you go out to trade, your backpack is light, but at the end of doing business, you are weighted down by your commercial success. My hope is that we all leave this forum carrying not only new contacts, but concrete ideas, clearer priorities, and the confidence that the B5+1 is helping to turn individual aspirations into shared prosperity. Thank you all for your leadership, your partnership, and your continued commitment to the region so rich in opportunities. Thanks for letting me chat with you today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the wonderful words, speaking on behalf of all of us at SIPE, so thank you very, very much. I want to thank all of you for being here with us for the past 2 days. What a wonderful experience, what a wonderful forum, what wonderful participants. We've learned a lot, all of us, so thank you very, very much. But in particular, I'd like to thank the governments of the Kyrgyz Republic for their hospitality. You've set such a high bar. I don't know how much more we can do for the next one. So thank you very, very, very much. And also the government of the United States of America, especially the State Department, Mr. Palmersheim, Mr. Ambassador. Without your support to SIPE, we would not have been able to do this. So thank you very much. And on behalf of SIPE and everybody, we want to thank you all for your support. Both the Kyrgyz government and the American government. Thank you very much. And also, of course, the governments of Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. Thank you very much for your partnership. Thank you for your dedication. And thank you for excitement for all of this. Let's move forward. And now it's my honor and privilege to ask for closing remarks Her Excellency, the Deputy Minister Benazir Nurlanova, the Deputy Minister of Economy and Commerce of the Kyrgyz Republic. Again, thank you for the hospitality. Thank you very much.
Уважаемые коллеги, еще раз добрый день, дорогие участники форума. Эти 2 дня показали главное. Интерес к практическому сотрудничеству сегодня не просто сохраняется, а уверенно растет. В Бишкеке собрались порядка 400 участников, представляющих 211 компаний и организаций. Особенно важно, что среди них ведущие передовые компании, формирующие новые решения, новые рынки, новые форматы взаимодействия. Это означает, что платформа B5+1 становится не просто площадкой обсуждений, а пространством, где формируются реальные партнерства. В работе форума приняли участие делегации бизнеса из стран региона и Соединенных Штатов Америки, в том числе Кыргызской Республики 80 компаний, Казахстана 35 компаний, Узбекистана 27, Таджикистана 22, Туркменистана 13, а также Соединенных Штатов Америки 34. Такая широкая представленность еще раз подтверждает высокий интерес к расширению практического делового взаимодействия. Мы вместе с нашими американскими партнерами и организацией SIPE прошли серьезный путь подготовки к этим дням форума. С самого начала наша задача была сделать так, чтобы итоги встречи говорили сами за себя, чтобы участники уезжали не только с впечатлениями, но и с новыми контактами, идеями и договоренностями, которые получают дальнейшее развитие. И судя по активности обсуждений и количеству состоявшихся встреч, эта задача была выполнена. Сегодня важно не только подвести итоги, но и определить следующий шаг, чтобы решения и инициативы, обсужденные здесь, получили продолжение в конкретных действиях и долгосрочном сотрудничестве. Кыргызстан со своей стороны открыт к такому взаимодействию, готов расширять партнерство и обладает всеми возможностями, чтобы совместные инициативы успешно реализовывались. Мы готовы создавать условия для работы бизнеса, поддерживать новые проекты и быть надежным партнером для компаний, работающих в нашем регионе. И если этот форум станет отправной точкой для новых совместных решений и партнерств, значит, эти дни в Бишкеке стали важным шагом для дальнейшего укрепления сотрудничества. Благодарю всех участников, партнеров и организаторов за вклад в проведение форума и желаю всем дальнейших успехов и новых совместных достижений. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the wonderful words. And now it's my honor to ask His Excellency Ambassador Leslie Vigory, U.S. Ambassador to the Kyrgyz Republic, for his closing remarks.
Wow, we made it. Give yourselves all a round of applause. Congratulations on a successful B5+1 forum. Over the last 2 days, we shared stories of success, of how far we've come since the first B5+1 forum in Almaty. Here, let me particularly highlight the C5+1 10th Anniversary Business Conference in November in Washington, which we announced more than $25 billion in new deals between the United States and Central Asia. Central Asia has rarely enjoyed this much attention from the United States, and American businesses are raring to go. Over the last 2 days, we asked and answered the tough question: how can we improve the business environment to ensure even more stories of commercial success? As all of you know, some of the best work actually gets done out in the corridors or outside the hotel. And here, let me just highlight that I understand that at least 12 MOUs were signed between U.S. businesses and Kyrgyz institutions. That's 12 and counting. I call on all of us here to draw upon the knowledge shared and networks made during this forum when you return home. We hope you leave feeling prepared to take part in this exciting wave of enhanced U.S. Central Asia economic cooperation. Before we leave, there are many people to thank. Thank you again to the Kyrgyz government for hosting this important event. It's been a remarkable few days, and it's been wonderful to hear stories from so many people enjoying Bishkek for the first time. Thank you to SIPE for coordinating this event and for expertly leading B5+1 activities throughout the year. A lot of work went into making this all possible. Thanks to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the U.S. Kyrgyz Business Council for bringing such strong delegations. Thanks to the countless U.S. government colleagues in capitals across the region and in Washington who supported this event, and to the C5+1 Secretariat, which is always busy working behind the scenes to ensure our C5+1 activities are a success. And finally, thanks to all of you for the generosity of your time. To those working on task forces years round, those who traveled to be here, and those who contributed to breakout sessions, we value your contributions. I have no doubt these contributions will lead to an even more U.S. Central Asian commercial opportunities in the years ahead. I look forward to hearing about your success stories from the next B5+1 forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Really appreciate all your support and your help and your leadership on this. We have come almost to the end, just a couple of things. I just can't ignore the unknown soldiers who made this all possible, the translators, right? The translation has been really fantastic. So how about we thank them? Really, top quality translation. I've been listening to all of that. They're amazing. And then second, thank you for thanking me for doing this, but the real force behind this is the SIPE team in Washington and here. So please stand up. Please stand up, the SIPE team. From Washington, we have Natalia, Lisa, Maksat, Jeremy. From here, we have Asal, Ali Askar, Anar, right? And we have Malika all the way from Tashkent and Muhru all the way from Almaty. And a team in Tashkent and Dushanbe still working on this with us behind the scenes. So thank you all very much. You make us look great. Thank you. And my final word is, if there's one common word throughout the 2 days, is partnership. It's partnership within the Central Asia countries. It's partnership between the 5 countries and the United States. It's partnership between business and government. It's really, this forum is only symbolic of how this partnership can work. It's how B5+1 can work. We've made it. We've given this symbol. Let's continue to make it working. Thank you very, 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 very much. And finally, before you leave, hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. There will be a small performance as a little surprise. This is a dance. Oh, I was told we'll spare you that. There is no dance. So enjoy yourself. I'm not dancing myself, so enjoy your evening.